Wow, Ian, it's so nice to have you back here after all this time. I'm really glad that we're not recording this immediately after we record the second episode.
That would be embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah. But so anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Sonic Comic Chaos. Today we are covering simultaneously more arcs, but fewer issues than last episode. So take from that what you will. We're going to be covering issues 257 through 259 for those of you reading along at home. Yeah, but before we hop into that, Ian, would you like to plug your channel really quick?
Yeah, my channel is Ian Waffles. I do pretty much just anime analysis videos, and I've got one Kingdom Hearts video out, and I'm working on another one. So if that also interests you, check it out. But yeah, otherwise, I'm just excited to be here as usual. So let's talk
Yeah,
about some Sonic.
and my channel is the one you're on. So yeah, let's talk about, hop right in with Sonic the Hedgehog, issue 257, Damage Control, part 1 of 1. The first thing I wrote is, so it starts in Station Square. Essentially, so when we last left our heroes, we found out that as a result of the Genesis wave rewriting reality, the world has been put under an immense amount of stress. It broke apart, and everything's going to shit. And so we arrive in Station Square where things are pretty bad. The world's breaking apart. There's flooding. They're no strangers to that, but it's still not good. My first note was, I didn't know that Station Square, and by extension, I assume the entire United Federation, were in Salmersa. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
cool.
I guess in terms of how it connects, that was something they had to come up with. But I like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's
nice
weird just because.
nice to learn like the continuity of those things.
Oh, absolutely. But like because I assume based on the name, that's like their equivalent of South America. But when you think of like Station Square and the United Federation, you obviously think of like the United States. But
yeah, that is interesting. Why did they decide to do that?
Yeah, but anyway, so the Freedom Fighters swoop in, and one thing I thought was just a cool like comic book thing. I don't know if I'd say cool, but Sally makes a point to say they still haven't fully recovered from Perfect Chaos's attack. And I just like that 'cause it's like a sliding time scale like comic thing, where it's like it's been an amount of years since Chaos attacked, so we really got to help these people out.
Well, and they also have like Bunny and Antoine being like, I remember fighting Perfect Chaos. Were we there?
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat.
Yeah. So, oh, I wrote Cream gets the unplugged controller treatment because Sally just goes like, "You can't go down there, but don't worry, you're very important to me up here."
Yeah.
But so, Sally's coordinating everyone. They're fighting. I wrote these movie posters are fun. We have The Lost World, which, well, it was that sign of things to come, which is like a Jurassic Park thing, and then we have Shao in Space 3. I just thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Again, this is another one where there's not like it's a lot of just them running around and saving people, which I mean it's a fun issue. But so we get the bit you were talking about.
I think in this scenario it works a lot better than the pirate plunder one, because at least in this scenario the stakes are pretty obvious, and I understand that obviously we don't want to let all these innocent people die, and there's enough scenarios where it's like, oh, these people are trapped, we need to do this thing or this thing. So I think it flows well enough, and I think also the premise of the issue is just a really smart idea to have, like, immediately once you've shown like, oh, the world's really hurt and damaged, you show a place that we would recognize as Sonic fans, and then you put it in distress, and you have like, oh, there's Twinkle Park and there's this, and it's like, you as a fan, you can kind of be like, oh man, I've been to that part, or I know what they're talking about. So I think just like premise wise, it was a very clever and good idea.
Yeah, well, what I think is interesting is that like I completely agree with you. First of all, I liked seeing superheroes like be like superheroes and like save people and not just punch things. So that immediately was nice about this. But also, it's something that you get to do in like a comic that you necessarily couldn't do in a game. Because as Sonic fans, obviously we a lot of us ask for like the games to have more continuity with each other. But at the same time, I don't think any of us are saying like, man, Sonic really should have visited Station Square in Sonic Unleashed, because that wouldn't have made any sense. But in here, it does make sense, because it's a place we know, and you can go and essentially what you just said. But so we get this scene with Bunny and Antoine, which I thought was interesting for a number of reasons. One, because you told me that after that last issue, they never talked about those memories again. So you're a liar, Ian. How do you feel?
You're right. Well, okay, so here's the reason I said that. So whenever we initially talked, I actually thought that we were supposed to read this issue, so I did.
Oh,
and so
okay.
I had because that's why I referenced the part where he's like, "Oh, do you do you think you'll forget the memories or whatever, Sonic?" He's like, "Ha, never, buddy." And then he's like, "Uh-oh."
Oh,
So like
I thought.
the reason I said that was because I had thought we were supposed to read this issue. So that's why I was confused this week when you were like,
Oh,
"Yeah." So that's what happened.
okay. You see, what I thought you were like having a stroke or something, that you were talking about that scene in the Mystic Ruins. I was like, yeah, I guess that's
No.
technically. I guess you could technically interpret it that way, but yeah, no. I remember
No,
getting to
I
that
meant
scene.
no. So that was a miscommunication. But yeah, this is what I meant.
Okay, but so so they're talking about being there for Perfect Chaos's attack or not being there for Perfect Chaos's attack. And I just wrote, I'm having conflicting memories too, but try not to remember too hard, you'll remember some characters we don't own anymore.
Right.
Because I know Nate Morgan was there, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that he's a Penders. He's a Penders guy.
I think he's actually a Bowler's character.
Oh,
But
really?
either way, he got blipped. So
Yeah. By the way, I did mean to ask you this like forever ago. This is slightly off topic. What happened to Nate Morgan? Because I remember reading Sonic Archives and him being there, and then I jumped to Sonic Saga, and he just disappeared. Did he like die or something?
yeah, so Nate Morgan in issue 100, they go in and they have to save like a bunch of overlanders. And then at the very end, he makes sure that like he unlocks like the barrier so that everybody can get out. And then Robotnik like comes up right behind him and he's like, "You made a very big mistake, little man." And he's like, "You're going to pay for it." He's like, "I know." And then this is at the point where Robotnik can roboticize you with a single touch. And so he touches Nate Morgan and he roboticizes him.
That was a thing?
Yeah. That was back when Robotnik was still a robot.
Yeah, before the aliens abducted him and
yeah.
and did all
But then it gets better with Nate Morgan. So eventually, he gets nuked and dies. So
oh my god! What?
Yes. So basically, what happens is there's an issue where Station Square is like, "Hey, so we have this really cool security system," and they're like, "Oh, that's dope." And they go, "Yeah, but here's the non-dope part." So it was basically the security system was like, "Hey, Eggman's a really big threat, so we should just like launch a nuke at him," and then it did that. And so then they're like, "Dude, a nuke will like nuke him." And then like there'll be like a bunch of radioactive, radiation that'll like kill all of us. They're like, "Yeah, we didn't really think this through." And then so Sonic runs over there and he tricks Robotnik into turning on his shield as soon as the nuke goes into Robotropolis, and it kills like hundreds of human beings who have been roboticized, including Nate Morgan, and then they all die.
Oh my god! Well, first
and then
of
Sonic
all, I thought
goes,
you
and
said
then Tails goes, "Man, it really sucks that we'll never get to live in our old homes anymore." And they go, "Yeah, but we live in the forest, so it's cool." So clearly the writer, whoever wrote that, did not consider the fact that Nate Morgan was in there because nobody ever mentions it.
That's amazing. Well, first of all,
and so it had to
remember...
be confirmed in the encyclopedia that yes, he was in fact killed in the nuke.
Oh my god! First of all, I thought you said noosed when you first said that, and so that was why my reaction was like, because I remember you telling me about the nuke. I thought you were saying that he like at some point was hung.
Oh no!
And so you're talking about this Station Square security. I was like, wait, did they hang him? What?
That would have been amazing.
that would have been something, all right. Oh, what were we talking about?
You were just like, you're like, you remembering Station Square's fake news. Stop it.
Yeah.
That continuity's gone.
Yeah, but so they're talking, and then they're talking about the old world, and Sonic is like, "Hey, can you guys like stop making kissy faces and help me save these people?"
And they say no.
So, well, yeah, I mean that makes sense. They're teenagers, maybe, or except they're married, but Sonic's a teenager still. It's a weird thing. So, I wrote "Big is a treasure" because of his bit where he's fishing the people out, and he just grabs the car, he just throws it.
No, I also like the part where he goes, fishing for people is a lot weirder than fishing for fish. And then Sally goes, "I'm sure."
Yeah. But so then we have that. Oh, and I wrote, because there's one character who kind of looks like vaguely hedgehog-ish, and he's also green, and he has like glasses and a button-up shirt, and so I just wrote, oh, so Scourge wasn't wiped away by the Genesis wave, he just became a nerd.
He just became a nerd.
Do you remember this character I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, looking at him closer, it's very clearly like not a Sonic like knockoff, but he look like if you just look at him first glance, he has like the conjoined eye and he has like quill looking things. But anyway,
you should make that the thumbnail where it's just him, and then it's like a magnifying glass and a red circle, and it's like Scourge found.
I don't actually know what I'm going to make the thumbnail for this, so that should be interesting. Also, we have a character back here who looks vaguely like, I don't know if you know. Do you know the webcomic The Murder of Me? It's a Sonic thing.
No.
Oh, well, basically, it's like, imagine Sonic Underground, but replace Sonya and Manic with Silver and Shadow, and also make it good. And then you have The Murder of Me. And there's a character in the background who vaguely looks like the main villain of that, who's a character named Zalo. I think I'm saying that right. Yeah, that's it. Also, seeing Mobians and humans together is neat. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so we see some more of Sally processing her trauma, and Nicole. I wrote this note. Nicole essentially is just like, process your trauma on your own time. Damn it,
Yeah.
we have shit to do.
I'll give you a list if you need it.
But so one thing I wrote, which I guess we might as well talk about here, is how I found it kind of weird seeing that like them referencing the old universe, like and not just being like, man, that old universe is weird, but like with like specific, like they say like, see Sonic 247, and they say like see Sonic Archives 21 and 22, just because like I remember in my brain before I had read this, I had just completely separated the two, like pre-booting this. It's been like, yep, that old thing is dead, it is gone, and this is a completely separate thing. So seeing that they're like, seeing them like kind of mixing is weird. Again, from what you've told me, it stops completely after this. But
yeah,
like,
that's what that is what's kind of interesting, where it's like you almost feel like, okay, did they intend to maybe continue to reference it a little bit? Like, you know, what was their kind of goal? Because yeah, like you would assume like, as quick as possible, like let's try to not make too many references to the old stuff because it's not going to be relevant for the new readers. But I think it's mostly just they were just kind of in the in-between phase.
Yeah. Well, also I think they want to give some resolution to older fans, which
yeah,
I'm mixed on, but I do think this scene with Sally and Nicole is nice. I think it does provide, because it's not essentially Sally goes like, man, I was a robot and that was fucked up, but I'm better now. Like you do get a little bit of closure for it.
Yeah, unlike all of the other characters, I think Sally gets enough time for me to be like, okay, you know, we got a good amount out of this.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that because we actually got to kind of breathe with it.
Yeah, but so that's cool. And then I go, my next note is just, I completely forgot about Cream's mom. Because Sally says like, hey, get a hold of Mobotropolis and see if we can talk to my dad and see if we can talk to Vanilla. And that's when I'm like, oh yeah, Cream's mom is out there, potentially dead. Cream doesn't seem that bothered by it, so
maybe her mom can fly.
I wonder. Let's not get into that right now because I have another note about Vanilla later. But so, we cut to Eggman's base where he's talking to Orbot and Cubot. That line you brought up about the matching soup and salad bowls is here.
Yes.
And then there's one line where he goes, and on top of it all, the final results are in on the Super Genesis Wave's energy shadow. There's no way to undo the reality shift. What a world I've inherited. And my note literally says, Eggman is me right now. It's like, God, this is what we're stuck with? Ugh.
No.
But so he's doing the classic villain thing of like, I have to save the world so I can take over. Oh my lord, there's an egg wiki. It's called Egg Wiki. That's amazing. Anyway, sorry. He's doing the classic villain thing of like, I have to save the world so I can take it over later. I'm not a good guy, I swear. But so we cut back to Station Square. They're saving people. We get this panel of Sonic where he's got like the fangs. It looks really creepy and weird because he's starting to wear Hog out, but not yet.
Yeah, that's going to be the case for a while.
Yeah. Wait. When does he finally like go full werehog? Because it doesn't happen in the chase.
No, it doesn't happen for a while. I think there's going to be at least 3 more times where they tease it.
Oh boy. Well, because I could just imagine, like, 'cause obviously, you know, most people picking up a Sonic comic are familiar and they know what this is. But for like the couple people who like this is their first exposure to, you know, the Sonic Unleashed stuff, I just imagine they're like, why does Sonic just sometimes randomly grow fangs and like look all evil and stuff?
Yeah, it could be interesting for like the actual like, the kids reading this who are supposed to be reading this and not us loser Sonic fans who are like,
Yeah.
actually, Mr. Ian Flynn, I know what's happening, okay? You don't gotta jerk me around.
Oh, I don't know why I found that so funny.
Whoa!
No, we can't do that again. Okay, but so they're like, okay, we gotta find a way to save all these people, and then Amanda Tower rolls in, and Shadowfall is like one of 3 arcs from post reboot I've read, but I haven't read it in like 5 years, so I don't remember. So did the Genesis Wave just like gender bend Abraham, or is this like a relative of his?
Abraham's still around.
Okay,
but that confused me too. Like I legit also was like, wait a second.
like yeah, because that was one thing I was like, wait, did it? Also, like, what a weird change. If that were a change, but apparently, yeah. So no, instead of that, apparently there's just like some nepotism going on instead of GUN.
Classic.
Yeah, so they have the sky ship from Shadow the Hedgehog, and also they have Amanda Tower of the UFAF Letter of Gabriel. But so I will say I was somewhat disappointed because I was like, oh, we're gonna see Team Dark, awesome, and then we don't because they're doing Shadowfall right now.
Because you should be reading Shadowfall in your subscription.
Yeah, but I'm not yet.
Oh,
because I'm a dummy. But so yeah, but so they roll in, they help them, you know, save all the people. And my next note is, wait, are Max and Vanilla having an affair? Like what? Why are they together?
That's where it's safest.
I guess.
You know, on the weekends too, when Cream's, at her dad's.
Oh god, yeah. Like King Max is like, my wife doesn't exist anymore.
So things can get a bit, royal around here.
Yeah, my dumbass would-be son-in-law, except not anymore, wiped her from existence. So
But I don't remember that.
Yes. And then so they're talking, and then they're like, how is the world like still functioning? Because by all account, it should just be wrecked. Like, how do we still have an atmosphere? And Sonic says, like, can we just say it's magic?
Yeah, Sonic says it's a comic. Shut your stupid face.
Yeah, Sonic is being the writer right now and being like, please don't ask me about this.
I do. It'll get brought up later, but I do like that they actually do answer this question.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they actually answer the question, and it not only does it make sense within the context of how Sonic works, or at least like it makes like conceptual sense, but then also like they give a reason for like the floating island and like the fact that like whenever the emerald breaks, it's like it doesn't fall, and it's because all the land mass is floating, right? So that means that when he breaks it, it won't be falling, but that also means we have to fix it before we fix the world, which is a nice little plot device.
Yeah. Well, can I guess? I assume it has something to do with like Light Gaia is helping them keep the world like from destroying itself.
Oh, Light Gaia and Chaos, because Chaos is the water god.
Really? Chaos, huh?
Yeah, Chaos is like, don't worry, bro, I'll fix it for you. And he's like controlling all the water, I guess.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Like we'll get like once we get to it, we'll try to figure give us specifics. But I do appreciate that he did actually come up with an answer, and I was like, oh, that's a fun idea.
Yeah. And then but yeah, so Sonic's like, can we just say it's magic? And Max, is he still called Max, or is he just the king now?
I think his name's Nigel now.
His name's Nigel?
Yeah.
Why is he Nigel?
Because he can't be Max.
So, well, I call him Max in all of my notes. So, but fine. I guess essentially the note was just like, I kind of like this version of the king.
Yeah, because he doesn't suck.
Yeah, he's fun. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think in the old continuity, he served the purpose of like providing a foil and being
Yeah, he
like
served the purpose of sucking, but you know.
Well, no, he was like the curmudgeonly old man, and okay. The more I'm talking about it now, I guess he did just serve the purpose of sucking. But
yeah, but he can be good. I mean, here's the thing: you can agree that like oh, he did a good job at being like an antagonist. You know, that's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, that is. But I think I like him being like nice here. Well, I assume it's because
well, especially since like he's a character who most people aren't going to be so invested in that like seeing him be changed in any way is going to make them go, I was a diehard Max fan and you ruined him. So it's like one of those things where it's like it's interesting to see the change.
Yeah. Well, also Sonic's not trying to date his daughter anymore, so he's like, okay,
so he's mellowed out.
I jerk you anymore. His daughter's dating a computer. He doesn't know how to feel about it. But anyway, so we get that scene you were talking about before, where Sonic's talking to Tails, and Tails is like, I'm starting to not be able to remember things, but like you'll still remember, right? And Sonic's like, yeah, totally. And the face Sonic makes after he says that is gold.
Yeah, and he's like, I am a liar.
He's like, Sonic's like, oh fuck, man, I really hope he doesn't hold me to this.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You know what? This is awful, but I'd almost like to see Sonic have to like lie and make stuff up. Like Tails goes like, hey Sonic, do you remember like what like my parents were like in the old world? Which obviously they couldn't do because they don't own his parents anymore, but just for example. And Sonic's like, yeah, you know, I think your dad was like he definitely didn't try to lead an insurrection on the castle. Why would you think that?
That's definitely something he didn't do. I
know
he
that. Didn't do that. And your mom, she was a baker. Like he just has to make stuff up. But so
it'd been funny if he was just like parents, and that's where he ended it.
You're a test tube baby, Miles. It's fine, but
yeah, just like Knuckles.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, he was a microwave baby, but that's a different story.
Yeah, I know at least his egg was hatched, and then his dad did some weird shit to it, but he still was like naturally born, as much as echidnas can be, I guess.
Yes.
I'm being that guy right now, Ian.
Yeah, Ian, don't you remember the Knuckles lore, you stupid idiot? I'm like, I'm sorry.
Well, no, you know vastly more about this than I do, so I was like, wait, did they retcon that later?
Nah, I'm just being stupid. But I'm trying to think, is that the end of the issue?
No, Sonic goes and he talks to them, and we find out that the people were kidnapped. And I just wrote Sonic's mouth looks weird, because boy does it look weird on the second to last page. And then the issue ends.
I think
so that's fun.
Yeah. The thing that I always thought, I was like, you know, if I was writing this and I knew that, like, you know, I'm not going to do anything else with the memory thing, I'm like, how would I make this end so that like there's a satisfying resolution for people? And but like I get around copyright, and I was like, I think the only thing I could do is have it to where you have a scene where Sonic is like, he's like, I'm gonna try to remember, and so he's laying down and he's like basically thinking to himself, he's like, okay, you know, I don't know if, you know, I'll see you guys again, because like it's like you basically imply that he remembers everybody, but like it's kind of fading, and so you have him say goodnight to a bunch of people, but without naming them. So it'd be like, it's like, okay, you know, it's like, and so, you know, but I'm sure I'll remember you, you know, even tomorrow. So good night, Mom. Good night, Dad. And then like, good night, you know, maybe you could say like, you know, whatever else. And then it might cut to Sally, and she's in her bed, and she's like, good night, Mom. Good night, you know, brother. And then you cut to like different characters saying this stuff. And then at the very end, it just shows hands on top of like all of the different Sonic characters with the, you know, the correct color, just to show that like even as they're fading, like they still feel them, and then they're gone.
Dude, that would have been so cool. I'm so mad they didn't do that now. I mean, great. Oh man, you know what? Anyone, if someone listening to this has artistic talent and you want to draw that, I am on Ian's behalf giving you permission to steal his idea and do that.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, but yeah, no, oh man, dang, that's good. I was always just so resistant to the change that anytime I thought of it, I just had the idea of like Sonic going to Robotnik and being like, "You need to help me fix this." Like, which obviously they can't do because rights. But like that's the only idea I ever had about like what they, because I was always approaching this from the idea of like this shouldn't exist. So I was never thinking about how to like necessarily fix it. But yeah, that's a good idea, man.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you like it, because that's all what I always thought. I was like, how would you work around it? And I'm like, I guess you just have to use vagaries, and then you just kind of have a send off without it being an actual goodbye, and then you just use visual symbolism to be like, you do the power of love thing, like they still feel them even as they're fading away, and it's like they're still with them, and it's like, yeah, that sounds good and heartfelt. Do it.
Yeah, I like that idea. But and then we have the off panel, which this is the first off panel of the main book I've actually liked. This one where we see like the vintage cartoon versions of all the characters. I don't know, I thought that was cool. And then we move on. I mean, anything else to say on that issue? Or are we good?
No. Overall, I like that issue.
I do too.
My rating would be like a 7. I and also the art's really good. So
the art is good. I that was the first issue where like I didn't really have any gripes. It's just a fun superhero rescue issue. We get some cool character stuff, and it's just, again, I think the more we leave like the weird like remembering the past universe stuff behind us, and the more Ian is just allowed to write fun Sonic stories, I think with that the book will drastically pick up in quality, which I think is reflected in the next arc.
Yep, I was just about to make that same transition, so let's go.
All right. Leave the bad dudes in the dust with Sonic the Hedgehog, issue 258, The Chase, part 1. For anyone not reading along with us and not seeing these like subtitles they have above the title, I probably just sound like a crazy person. So I did that with all the issues last episode too. But so we have this cover, which I think is cool.
Real quick, just to put my cards on the table, I really like this arc. I think it's pretty fun from beginning to end.
I think it's cool. I like all the little character moments. I think that, I think if you were to compare this, because I remember thinking like, what's the difference between this and IDW? And the difference is that like the characters are like fun and like interesting, and they act like people, and I care about any of them. Like,
well, and I think here's the difference between like one, I agree with you, but to give a more like general audience perspective, right? Because I think for a lot of people with IDW, they just like seeing their favorite Sonic characters like go out and like hit robots and blah, blah, blah. But I think what IDW is always missing is that it doesn't do a good job of establishing like a proper gimmick. It's just more like, look, guys, it's egg pawns, or look, guys, it's a ship and we're fighting it. Yep, boy, howdy. Oh, guys, look, it's robots with giant hammers and they're tall. They're probably strong. I don't know. And so you have no clue of how to like gauge anything. With this, there's a clear gimmick, which is this train, and they have a constant ticking time bomb of like it's going faster and faster, and we're going to get knocked off or whatever. And then each train cart, there's a joke or there's a weapon or a badnik or a E1 no whatever gamma thing. And so the whole two-parter has the setup of, okay, we're going to go on this train. Each cart is going to have some sort of surprise. So there's consistent setup and payoff that makes for this to be a fun action scene, and it pays off with them actually destroying this thing that was supposed to have a lot of stuff that Eggman might have needed. So there's a lot more going into it than just we need to get to Angel Island, okay, and we want to show off all referring to IDW, and we want to show off all the characters getting to do cool moves. So what do they do it on? They attack a bunch of egg pawns and cannons. And they pick each other up and throw each other. Whoa. And it's like, it's just boring. Whereas this is creative and fun, and it's constantly moving. So I really like, that's, I think, the difference to me.
Also, something I didn't notice in my first read through this, they're in Soliana, which is awesome, because 06 is an underrated masterpiece. Yes, I said it. And yeah, also they're chasing a train, so it's thematically appropriate. But so, one thing I want to say right off the bat, I love the art in this arc.
No, it's super good. I really like especially the coloring on everybody. Like, it's really good. Like, it has this nice, like, warm brightness, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Well, I I think Evan Stanley knocks it out of the park with the expressions on everyone.
Heck yeah.
Like, well, even so, like they get on this train, right? And Sally chucks Nicole through this hole, and Nicole's handheld has like a little like surprised face on it.
Yeah, she's like, oh.
Like you didn't have to do that, but like I appreciate it. And even when she hits the floor, there's like a little like, I mean, I don't know what you would call this face, but like it's like an oof face, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's even like great stuff with like when they're in the cart and it has the foosball table, and you have Amy like putting her head against the door, and she has to like hear what's going on in the other cart, and she's like cut this really like determined face to like hear what's going on, and it just looks really silly. Yeah. Or you have the scene where Sonic goes into the cart and he's like, yeah, I'm totally gonna get this cart, and then it's just like a cart full of badniks, and he's like, hey guys, what's going on? You can just like power down or whatever you guys do, and then it's just a shot of him like putting his hand on his head like, oh boy howdy, how did I get into this scenario?
I think the standout for me was when Amy she like knocks the thing into the thing full of explosives and almost kills everyone, and her face
she goes, let's not tell everybody that we almost killed everyone. Yeah, that seems good. And there's even like an arrow that like points to it to be like, bam, 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 we almost died.
Ian, I'm noticing something is that you said that our discussion should be more point based and not like us just going over like what happens in the story. That's a lot easier when we actually like what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Because like the whole, I mean, like you said, the whole two-parter is just fun character moment after fun character moment. That's pretty much the whole thing.
One question I wanted to ask of you, because I assume they explain it at some point, and I have an idea of what it could be, but I'm wondering if I'm wrong. So Nicole's not made of nanites anymore. They're not doing the nanite thing.
No.
So how is she made of like hard light? Is that how she can touch stuff?
That isn't on. I mean, you can check for me. Isn't her handheld? Doesn't have like a red star or a ring on it, like on the handheld thing?
It has a ring on it.
Okay, I would assume that's it. It's just magic now.
It's just she can just make herself a body. Okay.
Yeah, like we're using power rings. She's an advanced AI. That's how it works. The end.
Hmm. Do they ever do the? I mean, this might be a bit of a spoiler, but whatever. Do they ever do the like I want to be a real girl story with Nicole in this?
They do touch on that. Like they don't make it like they don't do it like in Pre-Boot where
everyone hates
it's like, oh, this is what I want. It's more like she's kind of in a in-between stage, because we'll get flashbacks to where basically like that same issue from Pre-Boot did happen in this timeline. Oh. And so now we're kind of in like an in-between phase where she's growing into being a person.
Okay.
So it will. So the idea will get touched on. It just won't be like you're not going to get to a part where it's like, Sally, I think I'm feeling feelings.
Yeah. Well, because like so often when you have like a robot character in these things, you will have a story where it's like, man, I really wish I weren't a robot.
Yeah.
Also,
and it always works, and I always like it.
yeah. Usually, I would say it goes off pretty well. But one thing I want to say real quick, I do like Nicole's new design.
Yeah, it's really good.
Also, she gets to. You were talking about last time how they got rid of the cheek fuzz on Sally and Bunny and how it looks weird. Nicole gets to. It's not necessarily like the same thing. It's more that it's just like her nuzzle just kind of like goes out into like spikes. But it works.
I like that a lot. It legitimately, that they need it. It makes their faces look more interesting. Like Tails has it. It just looks good. Antoine has it.
Well, because also you can tell that they approach this with like, because Nicole's design in Pre-Boot, a lot of times she was wearing like this long like dress thing, which very clearly would not have worked if she's like going out into like the field. So I think, I don't know, I like it.
No, like they did a very good job of updating her design. I really like it.
Yeah. But so, one thing I also like is how Antoine's flying a plane, because like that was a thing he could do, and they just kind of forgot about that sometimes. But he's doing it.
Yeah, he was sometimes in charge of the flights.
Yeah. Well, also, is this plane like a thing? Like this purple plane he's flying?
I think that's new for this comic. Okay. I think. I could be wrong, but I don't recognize it.
Okay. All right. You know what you could do if you wanted to like retcon it? You could say like, because I think Tails' plane is, I assume it's the Tornado 2. His could just be like the Tornado 1 that they repainted. I don't know.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
yeah. You could totally do that. And it would work.
But so, we see E106 ETA. ETA? However, I assume it's some letter of the Greek alphabet. And he looks really cool. I really like his design. Yeah, it's like a mixture of gamma and omega.
But yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Oh, by the way, before I go into that, I do really like the because you know how you talked about how they'll have like the little square boxes to explain things, like to have the characters talking.
Yes.
I really liked in the first part where they would have like an acorn for Sally, a sword for Antoine, and then like Sonic was just like he's in it, just making like a smug face.
I do like that, yeah.
But to go to the Theta thing, like I do really like his design, and this is a thing that Flynn will continue to do in Reboot, is just add more E100 series, and I really like those.
Well, and this is what I like out of like an idea of like you're taking the game canon and you're expanding upon it, is you get stuff like this. Like there't 123 at least E series robots. Let's see some of them.
Yeah.
There's that Gun is like an organization. Let's see like some of like the day-to-day to it. Not just like, man, wouldn't it be weird if like we saw like some, I don't know, I haven't read IDW in forever. I can't think of a good example, but like they try and do stuff like this a lot, and oftentimes it's just like boring.
Yeah, well, and also this once again, we actually have a fight and an action scene that has stakes because this robot is going to destroy the train, which we don't want because we're trying to make sure this thing doesn't crash and fall. And two, there are people here who can get hurt, like Uncle Chuck and Professor Pickle. And we're in a closed environment, so there are stakes. Like bad things could happen here. And so, when Sonic's dodging or just like hitting it or whatever, like there's actually something to care about, Yeah. And I really appreciate also they have, they do what I talk about, which is conceptual power scaling, where you have this giant robot that's really strong. So how do we beat it? Oh, well, Amy comes in and she uses her giant hammer, and then we do like a combo attack. And then we even finished it off with a really good gag I like, where Sally's just like, all right, we got to get out of here. And Sonic like literally swoops Amy off her feet and like curtsies her or whatever. Is like, you heard the lady, let's go. And that causes Amy to like be like, oh, well, we got to go. And then she just knocks out the robot.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's really cute. Yeah. Like that's just, I really like how, we keep her crush and we keep her as an action girl, but we don't go too far in either direction.
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed where it's like, I mean, and obviously I've only read a little bit of this, but like, I think I like this Amy more than I like IDW Amy.
This is my favorite Amy, including Preboot. Like I like Preboot Amy a lot. Like I think it's really close, but the only thing I never really could fully invest myself, or not invest, but the thing that I think Preboot Amy was missing is, and this is going to sound super shallow, but they don't embrace the cute factor of Amy, if that makes sense.
No,
this really does embrace like oh, it's really cute that like when you do this type of trope correctly for Amy, the idea that she likes Sonic and she's in love with him and she wants him to like love her and stuff. Like you have this cute little moment where they have to pass her off to Sonic, who's on like this hoverboard, and then then Sonic passes her off to Amy, and like as they're doing it, you can see her like being really happy that Sonic is carrying her. But then it's like, oh, I got to get passed off to Sally. Oh, this is lame. I wanted to hang out with Sonic. It's like that stuff's cute and that's fun. But then you still keep that she's an action girl too. And so, yeah I really, really like this version of Amy. And she's going to continue to be great. So.
Yeah, I know. I think the most important thing I would say is like, I think what you said really struck the nail on the head, was like they strike that balance a lot better. Whereas like she still has a crush, and but like she's able to get stuff done. And it's not as much of like, they didn't make her Sally light, which I know people get upset when you say that about Amy in IDW, but like it really feels like she just switches between like game Amy and like being very similar to Sally in IDW, whereas here she feels more like a balanced all around well character.
Yeah,
but so we find out that Professor Pickle's first name is Dylan, so that's fun. I don't know why that's part of the fun of this, where it's just like, we didn't need that, but it's cool.
I mean, I think that is his name in Unleashed. So
is it real? Do we actually learn his first name? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's probably just like, because you know how you can collect like lore and like log files. It's probably like Professor Dylan Pickle log blah blah blah. I could be
I know.
wrong, but I think that's his official name. But regardless, yeah, we get him back. I also really love the interaction where it's like, yeah, we totally won, everything's great, and then it just smash cuts to the next page, and he's like, "What do you mean we lost your stuff?" And Sonic's just so mad.
Oh no, no. Oh man, we'll get there. I love
Okay,
that
sorry.
bit. But so no, you're good. You're good. I wrote one of my things. I wrote was just it was during some dumb Professor Pickle moment. I wrote, "This man holds the key to saving the world."
I know. I do think he is funny. Like he's not like Bean or whatever, where it's like this. It's the same joke, or it's a similar joke, where it's like this character is totally like not here with it, like in terms of like what's going on. But like the reason it works with Professor Pickle is like whenever like freaking Charles gets hurt and like Uncle Chuck, he's like actually concerned. He's not like, Uncle Chuck, why are you sleeping on the job, my boy? Your pickle sandwich is almost here. Like that would have just made him like horrible, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like no, he's like Charles, my word, wake up! You got to be okay. And so it's like okay, he's a person. He actually cares about people. We're good.
Yeah, but I mean, and we get the fun bit where it's like we need comms because they're just shouting across the train to each other. So Amy, so Sally's like, Amy, I need you to come over here and help me. And Amy's like, what? And so she comes and she beats up all the bad guys. And she's like, okay, so what did you want?
Yeah, she's like, sorry, what's going on? Couldn't hear you from over there. My bad. Yeah, no, the whole two-parter is just great. Like I really like it. It's just funny from beginning to end and like endearing.
Yeah, it is nice. And then and then I think we can just again, I don't know how much more there's to talk about. I mean, every like we have the Eggman food room, but like overall it's fun.
So the last thing I wanted to mention as far as things that I really like is and they're just two jokes, which is it's like booyah, 7 emeralds and 7 temples. We've got the Sky Patrol, we've got the Freedom Fighters back together, we've got me. How hard can it be?
Isn't that next issue?
Yeah, sorry. I was just looking at like this whole little section because I already talked about when he fights Theta. So I was like, we pretty much covered everything.
I don't know. I mean, there's I still have notes for that next issue. So.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, so yeah, we'll move into. Ian, you're throwing off my structure. But
sorry,
it's fine. But I had also just a weird note. There's no off panel for this issue. I don't think.
Oh really?
Yeah, no. I don't know if there's one next issue either because they do the whole alternate ending thing, which we'll get to that. But it's not really an alternate ending, but whatever. And then so we have the chase. We have a blue streak speeds by. It's Sonic the Hedgehog issue 259, The Chase Part 2.
Indeed. And that's by the way, I mean that's super cool. That's a Sad AM reference. So
that is cool. I like that. But so we're back. Sonic is fighting ETA. I have very few notes for this admittedly, so we should be able to speed through it pretty quick. He's fighting. We have the fun. I'm looking at Amy's face now. You're right. It is funny. We have the foosball table car bit.
And the ball is Sonic's head, which I love.
Like a ball with like 3 spikes. That's neat.
Yeah, because at first he says like, "Ooh, gross." The foosball is shaped like Sonic's head, but you don't see it. But then whenever like it falls over, you see it pop out.
Yes. Yep. But so. Not much more. I don't think there's too many more of those like gags. I think they're mostly just like we gotta get off this train. But so Sonic's getting beat up, and so he's about to go Werehog, and then he doesn't. Yeah. So. Okay. Is it? I assume it's still triggered by like day and night in this, right?
Yes and no. Like it. I think like it can only fully come out at night, right? Like I think that, or I mean, I don't know why I'm asking you. You haven't read it. I'm pretty sure that's the case, but like as you saw, it can kind of like trigger a little bit. So
yeah. Well, I was wondering if they were going like full Hulk with it, where like it can be triggered by his emotions, which would have been interesting.
Like for now, like there's gonna be parts where it's nighttime and he's not just gonna like immediately transform. So for now, it's like in this in between phase where it's like tied to his emotions and tied to the day and night.
Yeah. Okay, but so Amy shows up. They're fighting. They do the combo move, which they call the croquet special.
I think that's a reference to Dark Brotherhood because that's a move you can do, is where Amy hits Sonic into enemies.
Ah, it's a reference to the game that ruined Archie Sonic. That's cool.
Indeed. Gotta give it to the greats.
Yeah. But so they get Chuck and Pickles out of there. They do the thing you were talking about where Sonic sweeps Amy off her feet. It's a cute scene.
I like that her eep isn't a. I like that her eep speech bubble is the heart.
It is cute. But so and then they get off the plane. It's all fun, and then we get the scene of Sonic being pissed off at Pickles.
Yeah, I'm glad he's still able to be this mad, because this is something that IDW Sonic doesn't really have, which is like the attitude.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
This was really good. Like I like the part where it's like, and this guy's supposed to be a genius, folks.
Yeah, that line is wonderful. But yeah, I remember I just wrote Sonic being irritated. Sonic being irritated is something I miss. Yeah, and then so we get some exposition about how Pickles has been looking at the Gaia manuscripts. They just straight up show Chip, by the way, here. So mystery gone, I guess. But
he'll be showing up. He'll be showing up fairly soon.
But so, and then we get one bit I really liked was Chuck talks about Robotnik stealing the roboticizer, which was something obviously from Preboot, that I guess just carried over, which is neat, and I like.
Also, the little map of the Earth has Angel Island on it too.
The map of the Earth.
Or sorry, like when he's showing like when it shows like Chip.
Oh,
yeah.
I see what you're talking about. Man, that is, if that's meant to be like comparative in size to the Earth, that's a big island. But
yeah.
I get where they were going for there, and I appreciate it. So
it says like in like ancient Gaia, like Sanskrit or whatever, it says like it's like not to scale.
Yeah, but so they're talking, and then Chuck is basically like, Sonic, you really should get yourself looked at after you breathed in that gas. It was not good. Although it's weird because he basically just says like all the bad stuff the gas can do to you, and then Sonic goes, I'm fine, and Sally goes, wait, what are you guys not telling me? It's like, Sally, I feel like you can put two and two together when he talks about all the bad stuff the gas can do, and Sonic says that he's fine. I feel like you can put together what probably happened.
Mutsky let out a mean one, and it wasn't good.
Which is even worse now because he's a person.
Oh no. Yeah, he has no excuse. He's not a stupid mongrel anymore. He should have held it in, that jerk.
Oh my god. But so then Sonic just goes off, and they're like, and Chuck's like, are you sure you're fine? And then Sonic remembers all these bits of him almost turning to the werehog. He's like, yeah, totally, I'm cool. And then
yeah, that was a month ago.
Yeah. Oh no. But so then Eggman's like, I have the plans. Those guys think they won, but I won.
This scene is great because there are so many references and jokes here. For one, he's in the bullet station from Sonic Heroes, and you even see the little cannons in the background. But then I love the joke of the train pulls up, there's no sound or whatever, and then we have a little panel, and then it just shows Theta waving.
That's great.
Which is great. But then the final amazing thing is that they go into this room and they try to clean up some dark Gaia goop, and he mops up some dark Gaia goop, and then the mop chases after him and tries to kill him.
Oh, I never saw that. That's great. I thought you were going to talk about the train's at least on time bit that they do.
No, that's great too, and I love Eggman's like slow burn anger reaction where he's just sitting there and just like, just tell me what was lost.
Yeah, that is great. And then apparently there is an off panel because I wrote, love the idea for this off panel, but execution is lacking.
Basically, it's just that the Scratch Grounder and Coconuts are giving Orbot and Cubot like bad guy lessons. Which
again, I mean, I feel like it's right there. Like they're doing like a train pun thing, which I mean literally says on the chalkboard like bad puns. But like I feel like if you're gonna do a bit with like Scratch and Grounder, all like and essentially like training Orbot and Cubot, who are this generation scratch and grounder. I think there are better things you could do with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see it.
I'm gonna be a snob about it. And then we have our alternate ending, which is basically just where we find out that one of Eggman's bases is on top of a temple. Which, like, that's not an alternate ending. That's just the last page of the book.
More plot, sir.
Yeah, like, like I wasn't expecting anything big, but I was expecting something.
That would be funny though if it's like it's an alternate ending. Like this is this is where this thing is that's really important in the plot. But
No, it's
that's
not.
a different. But it's not. So sorry, because it's an alternate ending.
But as such, that brings us to the end of issue 259 and the end of the chase.
Yeah. Overall, what did you think?
I liked it. It's a fun. It's nothing. Again, it's nothing like groundbreaking, but it didn't need to be. It's just a fun thing. You get a lot of fun character stuff, and yeah.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. I think this will be a better gauge. Was this more fun than most of the stuff you have read in IDW?
Yes, 100%, absolutely, without question.
Yeah. I really dig this arc. Just because I think it does a good job of, like, if this is an action comic and we're getting this every month, like this would have set, I did read this monthly whenever I was a kid. Like I did read this arc, and I remember just being like, this was so fun, and just like wanting to read it over and over again, look at all the expressions and all the silly like things going on. So no, I really, really like it. And I was very happy that we were going to get to talk about this arc in particular, because I always just know I like it. So
yeah, you can notice the difference in energy from when we were talking about that Sonic Universe arc, which we definitely didn't just record before this episode, and this arc.
I know, because I started actually talking again and being like, whoa, bro, let's talk about the cool stuff.
Yeah. Again, I think this arc, just comparing it to, Countdown to Chaos, it's just night and day. Like, it's, oddly enough for the Unleashed arc, but like it's again because also I think it's just like Ian doesn't have to deal with like the old universe anymore, which is like while it's sad that the old universe is gone, it allows him to like move forward and start telling fun stories again.
Yeah, where it's like now he doesn't have to worry about all the minutia of like, okay, we got to please old fans, but we're trying to set up new fans. Like, no, this is the story we want to tell. Go.
Yeah, and it does. And again, it's not as confused like. Because again, part of it was just like that. Not to talk too much about Countdown to Chaos again, but just like that plot line just left so many questions open for like, wait, what does this mean? Whereas this again, it's just fun and like even Damage Control, that first issue. While that still did wrap up some of that stuff, I feel like it did it. I don't know if I want to say in a better way, just because it was the tail end of it. But like you got to see some cool stuff with Sally and Nicole, and you got to see the heroes going out and rescuing like. As a whole, I think this was a massive improvement from what we saw from episode 1 for this book.
Yeah, are you more excited to read this now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know like last week was a pretty sorry sight. So
I mean, I feel like we got some fun discussion out of it, if nothing else.
Oh, we did, but it was just like reading it. It's like, oh boy, like because I even read it and I was like, yeah, I remember liking this, and then I was like, oh gosh, wait, was Reboot bad? But then whenever I was looking over this, like I was like, no, this was good stuff, like around here. So
yeah, well, so anything else to say, or should we wrap this up?
Yeah, we probably got to wrap it up. But yeah, overall, like I'm really looking forward to more. And my channel is Ian Waffles. You can find me there. And yeah, it's just great to be on here. And the goal is to try to continue to do this as frequently as we can and get you through Reboot so you can be a true blue Sonic fan. Yep.
Again, this episode, I'm gonna try and get 2 and 3 out. Before the end of the month, and then I'm gonna be back to crushing my soul at university. So audience, I can't promise that these will be out like super regularly, but my goal is at least once a month.
Yeah, that should be doable, especially since like did it take you too long to read like this 4, 5, 6 like 7 issues?
Not particularly.
Yeah, so we can kind of keep up that pace and like. If that's the case, it's more like they might get 2 episodes a month because we just recorded 2 episodes. So
yeah, and hopefully, and as long as Ian, doesn't say anything more about Canadian people, it shouldn't take too long to edit these. So
yeah.
Next time we will be back with Shadowfall. So that should be fun.
Yeah, I know there's some good stuff in there. So
yeah, and so thank you all for watching or listening or whatever. This is a podcast. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, leave a comment. Those are always nice. And yeah, come back for that. I'm floundering. Ian, help me.
bye.
See you, everyone.